Welcome. Your arrival has been expected. Why are you here? You must know. Now, let's go gambling.
What's good, y'all? Lamushi here. We got our first real official video. Now, what is it gonna be? If you couldn't tell by, well, you probably tell from the thumbnail and what I've got put together right here, we're gonna be doing a Cloverpit charm tier list. I haven't seen one of these up on YouTube yet, and as you'll see, and as you have seen from my intro video, I'm a big fan of Cloverpit. Super fun game, super fun roguelike, you gamble, try not to die. There's the devil, there's God as well. If you know, you know. So I figured I would make my own because I really like this game, and the charms are a super fun aspect of it. So we're gonna start off with Abyssu. For anyone that doesn't know, I'll try to recall to the best of my ability what each of these charms do. I will be giving a description of each charm. So here we have the Abyssu. So what this charm does is once you buy it and then buy another charm that doesn't take space, specifically doesn't take space, this charm will take it, ban it, which means it can't show up in the store after you've bought it. But if you discard this charm, that charm that doesn't take space will automatically show up in one of your drawers, and then use it whenever you want. Just have it in storage. So honestly, I haven't used this thing very much. For our first charm, the Abyssu, I'm going to give it a solid C ranking because charms that don't take space are pretty easy to come across in the store just on its own, on their own. This thing just kind of adds extra steps to being able to use it, plus it costs you extra tickets, and it's a whole complicated, it's a whole thing. So we're going to be putting Abyssu in C tier. Up next we have the Abstract Painting. So now what this charm does is whenever you score a pattern with 5 or more symbols, it automatically doubles the value of all your patterns till the end of the round. So 7 spins or 3 spins, you get a 5 symbol pattern. This guy equipped, you get double pattern value. Pretty nice for late game and paired with other charms. On its own, we're gonna give this guy a solid B tier. Up next, we got the AA batteries. Now what this do. Now what this does is it is a modifier charm, which you buy it, there's a, I believe, 20% chance, I might be wrong, maybe 25, maybe 30% chance of a battery modifier to show up on specifically either Clover or Bell symbols. So if you spin a pattern that consists of specifically Clovers or Bells that has one of these battery modifiers on one of those symbols in that pattern, you get a charge refilled to any charm that you have equipped that takes battery power. It's a battery recharge. So this is a pretty useful charm if you're going with a Clover or Bells build. However, specifically because it is only those 2 symbols that you can get it on, I am going to put it, I haven't really thought about this, we'll give it B. Up next we have the Ankh charm. This is probably one of the first charms that you will unlock. Very easy to unlock. You just have to die 3 times and you will get the Ankh charm. And what the Ankh charm does is if you reach the end of the deadline and you don't have enough coins to reach the deadline, if you have this guy equipped, the animation will play where you're about to fall through the grates and die, but Ankh will save you and it will automatically give you 2 extra rounds to finish that deadline. So because it's such an easy unlock and it literally saves your life and gives you 2 extra rounds to the deadline, we're going to put that in a very well-deserving A tier. Okay, so from here on out, we're probably going to be having groups of charms that are similar, and we'll just knock them out both at the same time. So here we have these 2, the horseshoe and the regular horseshoe. The regular horseshoe is pretty simple. You buy it, and any charm that you also have equipped that has a triggers randomly trait, this charm will cause it to activate twice as often. So if you have something that triggers random 10% of the time, it'll trigger 20% of the time, or 30% of the time, it'll trigger 60% of the time, so on and so forth. And here we have the golden horseshoe. What the golden horseshoe does is it has a battery charge to it, so you can, when you have it equipped, you activate it by hitting the button on the slot machine, and any charm that you have equipped that also has the triggers random effect, but then once you activate it, you have to wait to activate it again until it is fully recharged. If you don't have a battery charm or anything else to recharge this charm with, chances are you're only going to be using it once per round. So with that, we are going to be placing regular horseshoe D tier and the golden horseshoe in E tier. Now, this is just me personally. I think both of these charms are pretty lackluster, not the most useful things ever. But when it comes down to it, I would rather have a charm that I don't need to activate the battery, that just gives me double chances of a random charm triggering than having to worry about waiting for the golden horseshoe to recharge and then use it, because there's a lot of other battery charms that I wouldn't want it getting in the way of activating when activating the golden horseshoe. That's just my reason. And now we are on to two charms that I am very bipolar about. I call this duo the Sigils, even though I know their official name is the Hamsa and the rotated Hamsa. I just call them the Sigils. We'll start off with the regular Hamsa. What the regular Hamsa does is, for every first spin of your round, it will make all patterns repeat once. And if you ask me, I think that is pretty lackluster. Chances are, unless you already have a charm that gives you luck, or you're already late game, where you're getting basically guaranteed symbols and patterns of a certain kind, this charm doesn't really do a whole lot for it. Definitely not great for early game. And here's our Sigil's way cooler older brother, the rotated Sigil. This guy is my personal GOAT. I always look for him early game. If I get him in the shop, as soon as I spawn in, I know I'm gonna have a good run. He only costs 3 tickets, which you can get after 1 charmless round right off new game, and every last spin of the round he gives you +7 luck, which is pretty good for early game. Most of the time, if you use him first 1 or 2 deadlines, he will give you, I will probably say, at least 1 jackpot. Pair this guy with some other charms that we'll get to down the road, and you are virtually guaranteed a jackpot. All that being said, we're going to put the rotated Sigil in A tier, love you baby, and the regular Sigil in E tier with the golden horseshoe. Not a fan of you guys. Up next, we have the Cat Trio. Regular Lucky Cat, Garfield, and my dad, aka Lucky Cat, Chonky Cat, and Swole Cat. I'll try to make this breakdown quick. With Lucky Cat, every 3 patterns plus you score, get a bonus to your winning for that spin equal to your jackpot. Our Chonky Cat or Garfield, whenever you score 7 plus patterns during a spin, you get an extra reward equal to double interest. And the trend continues. Swole Cat, get 15 or more patterns triggered in 1 spin, you get a reward of 4 times your interest. We'll start with Lucky Cat here. Pretty good for early game. Honestly, you can keep him throughout the whole game because you will most likely be getting at least 3 or more patterns throughout your late game. We're going to throw Chonky Cat in A tier because he is really good for late game, and he's a good medium ground between the 3 patterns and 15 patterns of the other 2 charms. Pretty usable, pretty easy to activate during late game. Not impossible, you don't need the most advanced build ever for him to activate, and he gives you twice your interest. I think that's pretty solid. And lastly, we're going to put Swole Cat also in B tier because the reward, 4 times your interest, that's pretty crazy, but 15 patterns in 1 spin. You need a pretty damn good build, probably some obsessive traits for this guy to activate consistently. Up next, we got the One Trick Pony. This guy is pretty self-explanatory. Equip him and you get a guaranteed jackpot for 1 of your spins for that round, and then he is discarded. I personally like One Trick Pony. I'll admit he's not the greatest thing ever, especially early game. If you have him equipped and you have a lot of modifiers on 1 symbol, he could give you a jackpot of symbols that you don't have those modifiers on and not really help you out too much. He's pretty much a toss-up of whether or not he really helps you or he doesn't help you too much, but it is still a guaranteed jackpot. So for that, we are also going to be putting One Trick Pony in B tier. Next, we're going to talk about this quartet of charms that if you see as soon as you spawn in, you know you're going to have a good first round. Starting off with a little choo-choo train. The toy train charm activates when your previous 2 spins have had no rewards, no patterns, and then the following spin has +5 luck. And then upon still not scoring any patterns despite having the +5 luck, an extra +2 luck will be added on to every spin after that that still does not have any rewards. This guy is basically the D1 charm of first deadline charms. You're almost guaranteed to not go more than 2 spins without some reward. And when the deadline is just 75 coins, you can pretty easily surpass that with just this. If you get lucky and get a paired activation of the toy train and the rotated Sigil, you really are almost guaranteed a jackpot. Up next, we have the lucky coin, as I like to call it, or the fake coin. This charm has a 10% chance of triggering randomly, gives you 1 extra spin for free, and that spin will have luck +4. This charm can and usually does trigger multiple times in 1 round, so you can go from 7 spins to around 10 or 11 with added luck. Next, we have the Ancient Coin, or as I like to call it, the token. This charm is button activated but only has one charge, meaning that it will automatically recharge at the end of every round, not deadline, so it is usable once per round at minimum. This charm, once activated with the button press, will do nothing for the current spin, but it will give you one extra spin after the button is pressed, and that extra spin will have +7 luck. I really like this charm for early game because I often pair it with the rotated sigil. So once I get to my last spin, I press the button, I spin it, the rotated sigil activates, I get +7 luck for my last spin, then the coin activates and I get another extra spin with +7 luck, plus the rotated sigil activates again because it's my second last spin and I get +14 luck for my last real spin. Like I said, really good charm for early game, especially paired with the rotated sigil. Pretty much again a guaranteed jackpot when you pair them up. And last and honestly least, we have the Shiny Red Rock. This is another button activated luck charm that when you press the button to activate it, that current spin will have +4 luck. Pretty lackluster in my opinion. +4 luck will not really get you a long way, but in early game it's alright. And just to add a little extra element of gambling to the gambling game, I like to try to predict if the next spin that I'm going to use the rock on will also have naturally generated luck. Use the rock just to try to add on to that naturally generated luck. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. Most of the time I honestly don't and don't score very much, but hey, 4 luck is better than nothing. So for our quartet of early game luck, we're going to put our friend, the Choo Choo Train, in A tier along with the sigil. We're going to put our token in B tier because I forgot to mention something about the token. That +1 extra spin that you get for activating it, it can mess up some other charm activations. We'll get to it, but there are record charms. These record charms all activate every 7 spins. So if you're trying to get a pair up of these records to activate on a certain spin, for example your last spin or your first spin, this token will mess up your alignment because you're getting an extra spin every round, and those records activations will not align on the spin that you want it to unless you are counting for that extra spin, which takes a little bit more work. So for that, we're going to be putting the token in B tier. Next, we're going to put our fake coin in C tier. It's sort of useful, gives you an extra spin with some luck, but the 10% activation chance is not great. Definitely not useful for late game, only really useful for early game, pretty mid tier. And last, we have our Shiny Red Rock. That's going in D tier. Really only useful for early game, definitely not useful for late game. A quintessential D tier charm. Stick with me, folks. We've got a lot to get through, only just scratch the surface. Up next, we have the House Charm, or the Property Certificate, and the Cardboard House. Mr. House here is an absolute need. No matter what build you're doing, you are going to need Mr. House. This charm simply adds 2 additional charm spaces to your table. You gotta have it, it's just gonna help. And then we have the Cardboard House, similar to the Property Certificate. However, it is not a charm that physically goes on your table. It does not take space, but it gives you 1 extra charm space. Both extremely useful charms for whatever build you're doing. You gotta get them every time. And so for that, we are going to be putting our Property Certificate House as our first S tier charm. It literally just gives you 2 more charm spaces. And our Cardboard House is going to go in A tier because it's still great, but it ain't 2 charm slots. Back again with some more early game goated items. We have our Lemon Pepper Steppers, the pepper set. Starting off, we have our OG peppers, the red pepper and the green pepper. Our red pepper has a random 20% activation chance. Upon activation, it gives you +5 luck current spin, and it automatically discards after 12 activations. The green pepper, my favorite of the 2, has a 15% random activation chance, gives luck +7 upon activation, and discards after 9 activations. Then we have our awful negative aura pepper, our Chud Pepper, and our Sigma Pepper. Our Rotten Pepper has a 10% random activation chance and starts out with a luck +0 modifier, but whenever 3 or more patterns trigger during the spin, that luck amount goes up by 3 until the end of the deadline. Our Chud Sun Bell Pepper is similar, 10% random activation chance, has a +0 luck modifier at the beginning, but this amount goes up by 2 for every restock done in the charm store until the deadline. And last, our Sigma Golden Pepper. This charm has a 15% random activation chance, starts out with a +0 luck, but this luck increases by 4 for every round skipped of the previous deadline. This charm is only usable for the most Sigma Chad Cloverpit players. So now we'll split our little bell pepper family up, starting with our Chud Son Bell Pepper. As much of a fat fucking chud that he is, you're going to put him in S tier, because me personally, when I'm doing my playthroughs, I do a lot of restocks, and I've gotten this guy up to a 128 luck activation. That's a guaranteed jackpot every time it activates. Plus the horseshoe, that's double the chance. Next, we're going to put our rotten pepper and our green pepper A tier, because 3+ patterns mid to late game, no problem. That's hella luck. And our green pepper is +7 luck, which is pretty good for early game. It usually spawns in the store early game, just an all-around solid early game item. Our red pepper is going to go to B tier because it has a lower luck addition despite having a higher activation chance, just not as good in practice as the green pepper. And finally, our Sigma Golden Pepper, we're going to be putting that in E tier because me personally, I relate more with the Chud than the Sigma. Only getting plus luck for skipping deadlines, pretty hard to come across, definitely difficult to achieve in a legit run. Getting some more basic charms out of the way, we have our phone book and our megaphone. The phone book here gives you one extra choice at the telephone when picking an option for your perk, and our megaphone, when equipped, makes the phone option activate twice. We are going to be putting our phone book charm in B tier, definitely useful, but after a while starts to take up space. Definitely want to keep it in a drawer most of the time, but still useful. And our megaphone is going to go in A tier. Although, I forgot to mention, when this charm is equipped, you do have one less charm space. There is a -1 charm space characteristic to this charm. Next, let's talk about some interesting charms. All of these charms are symbol switcher charms. That means upon activation, all of these charms in their own way will cause symbols to switch and form various patterns. Starting off with a pretty goofy one, we have the nose charm. This charm will activate after 3 spins and no patterns of 5 or more symbols, and it will cause the symbols to switch to form either the above or the below pattern. And also when it activates, it plays a funny sniffing sound. I like that. Our Twinkle Twinkle Little Star charm will activate when the previous spin had no rewards, and it will cause the symbols to switch to form the horizontal XL pattern. Then we have our painkillers. This charm activates when only one pattern appears during a spin and will cause those symbols to switch to your most valuable symbol. This guy's pretty good for early game. You're not really getting that many patterns to begin with, and chances are your most valuable symbol will be the 7 symbol, so as long as only one pattern appears during your spin, you're scoring 7s. Now for ranking, starting off with our nose, we're going to go ahead and put in A tier. This thing will activate pretty commonly throughout mid-game, and it automatically gives you one of the most valuable patterns. And like I said before, it's got a funny sniff sound, so A tier for me. Up next, we've got our little star. We're going to go ahead and put that in C tier because it's definitely not good for late game. After early game, it gets pretty annoying. It's not good for mid game. It's really not good for late game. Chances are through mid to late game, you're going to be scoring patterns anyway, so you won't really need it. And if by chance you don't score a pattern, the next spin you could roll a jackpot. And this guy will mess up that jackpot by modifying the symbols, possibly to another symbol. And last, we have our painkillers. We're going to go ahead and put that in B tier. Really good for early game, not super useful outside that, but still, you can score 7s right off the bat with it. And next, let's talk about the symbol photos. These are all very self-explanatory. Once purchased, they are activate a button on the slot machine, and for whatever symbol is on that photo, the chances of it scoring, or at least appearing, goes up by +2. Now to break them up, I could group these all together as just a photo charm and put them all in one tier, but I think we're going to give each symbol its own deserving tier. Lemons and cherries, you're both going in S tier because you're already the most probable symbol to land. Your photo charm is going to help that immensely. Plus modifiers, you're set. You can go long game. Up next, we're going to put the bell and Clover photo right where they already are in C tier. They're not worth a lot, barely more than the lemons and cherries, and they're also mid-ground with their percentages, so these photos don't help too much. So in order for these to really work, you're gonna need the manifest more often option at the telephone for either of these. Next, we're gonna put the diamond and treasure photos in B tier, because even though they are less likely than the lemons and cherries and Clover and Bell, they're worth it. So I think getting photo, even without the telephone option of manifest more, it's still worth it, because even if it is a lower chance than the lemons and cherries or Clovers and Bells, you are going to be scoring more per pattern. And last, we're going to put the 7, 8 tier. If you're following my reasoning for all of these photo positions, you could probably guess why 7 is in A tier. Now, to go along with these photo charms, we have the photo album charm. This charm, once bought, just restocks the store with symbol photo charms, specifically the first 4, so lemons, cherries, Clovers, and Bells. It will only not restock the store with those specific 4 if 1 or more of these photos are already bought or equipped. So if you are trying to go for a lemon, cherry, bell, or Clover run and you see this charm, you're in luck. But if you are trying to go for a diamonds, treasures, or sevens build and you don't have 1 or more of these other photos already bought, you will not be able to get those photos in the store. So for that, we are going to be putting photo album in E tier. Speaking of charms that affect chances of a symbol appearing, let's talk about these 3. We have the expired medicine charm, nuclear button charm, and the scratch and hope charm. Starting off, the expired medicine charm, when equipped, will automatically nuke the chances of your most valuable symbol to appear. This is good for early game when your most valuable symbol is automatically 7s. This charm will turn the chances of it appearing from 9.3% to 0%, which isn't a whole lot, but it does help other symbols to spawn more often, such as diamonds and treasures. Really, the only use for this charm is early game, but it's still useful. Next, we have the nuclear button. This is a obviously button activated charm. Whenever it's pressed, any other button activated charm that is going to activate will activate twice. That means photos, the token, golden horseshoe, and any other button activated charms that you have. And last, we have the scratch and hope charm. The scratch and hope ticket basically acts as a photo charm where your most probable symbol will manifest +1 more often. So let's say you're going for a 7s build, you got the 7 card, you've hit the nuke button, you've gotten 7s manifest more often at the phone. The scratch and hope charm will just give you a little more probability of 7s to manifest. We are going to be putting our expired meds charm in the D tier. We're going to be putting our nuke button in S tier and our scratch and hope charm in B tier. We're going to move down to the bottom now for displaying charms. Starting to run out of room in the upper quadrants, but let's talk about some more button active charms. First, we have the ring bell. Once activated with the red button, this charm will automatically increase all symbols by their base value. That means for lemons and cherries, that goes up by 2, Clovers and Bells, that goes up by 3, diamonds and treasures, that goes up by 5, and 7s goes up by 7. Now, for every activation of this charm, those increases are permanent, so this is a pretty good early game item as well. Up next, we have the Midas Touch. Similar to the ring bell, once activated with the red button, all symbols that are scored in patterns during the round that the Midas Touch is activated, those symbols will increase by their base value. And last, definitely not related to Midas Touch or the ring bell, we have the weird clock. This charm is unlocked once you beat the game through the good ending, and once activated, you automatically gain 1 extra round to the deadline you're currently on. Charms that are activated button take rounds or other charms that give charge back to these charms before they can be reactivated. The weird clock has 12 recharge slots. That means you need to go 12 rounds once you've activated it, or have charms that recharge charge. And if you are, by some miracle, able to use this charm 5 times within 1 deadline, this charm will automatically discard itself. Pretty fair that this charm pieces out if you're able to use it 5 times within 1 deadline, honestly. For ranking, we are going to put our ringer bell in B tier. I like it for early game. Past that, not much useful. Our Midas Touch is going to go in C tier because it's basically the ringer bell, but it's only patterns that you score while using it instead of all patterns automatic. And our weird clock is going to go D tier for a couple of reasons. It's really hard to unlock. It's a super rare charm, so you're barely going to see it in the store at all. And you can only use it once per 12 rounds unless you have charms to recharge. Alright folks, I hope you're enjoying the video so far. We are about halfway through all the charms that I have unlocked and experience with. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Let's get the rest of these charms ranked. Now let's talk about some mushrooms. You guys like mushrooms? We have our regular mushroom and our very big mushroom. Our regular mushroom activates for every pattern we score past our second one, and it will increase all of our symbols by their base value for every spin after that second one, for every spin until the end of the round. For our very big mushroom, if you're able to score 15 or more patterns, like our swole cat here, the very big mushroom will double the value of all your symbols until the end of the deadline. Our regular mushroom, I'm going to go ahead and put it up in B tier along with our cat, because our regular mushroom and our regular cat kind of go hand in. They're both good for early to mid game. If you have them both, you're getting symbols increase and interest reward. These two charms, in my opinion, were made for each other. And our very big mushroom, we're gonna go ahead and put it in D tier. Just like our swole cat, getting 15 patterns to manifest all in one spin outside of late game and with a really solid build, you're not really going to be hitting this charm much. On top of that, all your symbols will return to the value they were at before the charm activated at each deadline, whereas at least with the swole cat, you're getting more and more money the higher your interest goes, times 4 regardless. Up next, we finally have our record family, record A, B, and C. All of these charms trigger every 7 spins. Record A, every 7 spins all patterns will repeat once. Record B, every 7 spins you will get plus luck 7, and record C, every 7 spins the zig and zag pattern will appear. For our record ranking, we are going to start with record B. This one is my personal favorite. It pairs really easily, really well with the rotated sigil charm, every last spin plus luck 7, assuming that you are on a build where you will get 7 spins every round. Great combo, rotated sigil, and record B. Record B is also very useful for early game, and honestly throughout all stages of the game. That is, if you're willing to keep it on your table and not switch it out for other charms. Record C is probably called that because that's exactly where it belongs on the tier list. While this charm is also very useful for early game, just like the little star charm, past early game, and if you're really generous, early mid game, this charm is going to seriously mess up your patterns because it is a simple switcher. So if you get a jackpot on your last spin, let's say second round of your third deadline, and you really needed that extra money, you got a jackpot of 7s, and this guy comes in and switches the symbols to lemons in the zig and zag pattern. You just lost a whole lot of money. So record C, you're right where you belong. And now record A, we are going to be putting you B tier, just under record B, because without really any luck charms, you're not going to be doing a whole lot, at least for early and partially mid game. While repeating patterns is nice, other charms are needed for you to really be effective. And in case any of you are noticing that I haven't put any charms in F tier, you're thinking to yourself, oh, he's just glazing. He likes all the charms. He's not going to put any in F tier. He likes all of them. He's just glazing. Don't you worry, we're getting there. F tier is a very special reserved spot for just a few truly ass charms. Next, let's talk about some restock charms. All of these charms will give you a restock of the store in their own. First, we have the crowbar. This is a charm that doesn't take space. Once you buy it, you automatically get 3 free restocks of the store. Next, we have the cigarettes. These cost 3 tickets, and every time you buy it, it restocks the store with itself still in the store. Cigarettes are really good for restock ramping for any charms that increase either in percentage or value per restock, as well as increasing all symbols by their base value every time it's bought. Definitely a fire charm. Next, we have the fortune cookie. This is another charm that doesn't take space. Once you buy it, it automatically restocks the store with charms that have luck characteristic. The Clover bell charm. Anytime that a spin has a score of both bells and clovers, you automatically get 3 free restocks. And last, we have the shopping cart. The shopping cart gives you a symbol multiplier bonus for every free restock you have in the store, and when you buy it at the end of that deadline, it will automatically give you +1 free restock, and every deadline after that you have it equipped. So let's rank these charms, starting with the Clover bell. Our Clover bell is going to be our very first F tier charm. This charm is so impractical. The build you would need to consistently score Clovers and Bells, for this to really help you out, would be one that's pretty difficult to put together well. And all you get out of it is 3 free restocks. I mean, you're sitting comfy in F tier. Hope you're at least proud that you're the first one. Next, we're going to go with our fortune cookie. We're going to go ahead and put you in C tier. It's a really good charm to have in the store when you first spawn in. Guaranteed luck charms for your first deadline. Pretty nice, but overall C tier worthy. Next, we're going to go with our shopping cart. We are going to go ahead and put you in B tier. Honestly, I don't really use it that much. Whenever I do have it, I keep it in the drawer most of the time. I really only use it at the end of the deadline to get free restocks. The symbol multiplier effect is nice, but it only goes up by 1 at the end of every deadline, and that is assuming if you haven't used your free restocks during round. So shopping cart, you are B tier. Next we have crowbar, 100% A tier. It's just a quick 3 free restocks, no strings attached, you get what you pay for. And last, we have our cigarettes going in S tier. I don't care if you're a Marlboro, American Spirit, Newport, Camel, or even Belinda cigarette kind of guy. You are getting these cigarettes every time they spawn in the store until you are out of tickets. Smoke them if you got them, right? Next, let's talk about some pattern repeater charms. First up, we have our calculator. This charm has a 35% random activation chance, and when it activates, all patterns scored will trigger 1 more time. Next, we have the necklace charm. This charm will activate whenever you score only 1 pattern of either diamonds or treasures, and that pattern will trigger 2 more times. Next, we have the clicker. This charm gives a 15% chance for all lemon and cherry symbols to have the repetition modifier, where any pattern scored of lemons or cherries with that pattern multiplier will repeat the amount of times as there are repetition modifiers on that pattern. Next, we have some fan favorites, the piss jar and the shit jar, formerly known as number 1 and number 2. These 2 charms are activated by the button on the slot machine. They only last for 1 round and cause patterns to trigger 1 additional time depending on the color of the symbols in the pattern. The piss jar triggers all patterns with yellow symbols 1 additional time, and the shit jar triggers all patterns with non-yellow symbols 1 additional time. Meaning for the piss jar, you have lemons, bells, chests, and sevens, and for the shit jar, you have cherries, clovers, and diamonds. And last, we have the fruit basket. The fruit basket is basically the same thing as the clicker, but instead of putting a repetition modifier on the symbols themselves, the fruit basket makes all patterns of lemons and cherries trigger an additional time automatically. And on top of that, the fruit basket automatically discards itself after 7 rounds. For our rankings, we are going to start with the broken calculator. We're going to put that in D tier. From my experience with this charm, it's like whenever it activates that 35% random chance, it nukes the luck for the spin. Like sure, it's cool, it's a pattern repetition charm, but it seems like whenever it activates, I never get any patterns, ever, every single time. But on the off chance that it does work, the only reason it's not going straight in F tier is because maybe 1 out of 100 times it activates, I will get patterns that repeat. So you're lucky, buster. Next, we're going to score the piss and shit jar. We are going to put those in A tier. Definitely pretty useful charms. Piss jar especially for when you're doing 7s runs. And the way you unlock them is by pissing and shitting in the toilet that's in the room you're in. That being the way you unlock them is what separates them from B tier to A tier for me. Everyone loves these charms, so I feel like I would be doing justice by putting them any lower than A tier. Clicker, we're going to put in B tier. Definitely very, very useful for whenever you're doing a lemons or cherries build. You just slap that guy on there and got at least 3 or 4 symbols repeating an extra time. And last, we're going to put the necklace and the fruit basket C tier. While these guys are definitely not the worst, the necklace is definitely helpful for a early game diamonds or treasures build. It only activates if 1 pattern scores, so really only useful early game for a diamonds or treasures build. And the fruit basket, honestly, it would be B tier along with the clicker if it didn't automatically discard itself after 7 rounds. Now we're going to get into some build specific charms for a while, starting with the Clover ticket build. Starting off, we have the Clover voucher. This is a charm that doesn't take space. All you need is 2 Clover tickets. You buy this guy, you get 4. You just doubled your money. Well, at least the money that you spent. It's like one of those old scams you would see on Facebook of some Nigerian prince or crypto bro like Elon Musk saying, saying, send your money to this wallet and I will double it and send it back. Except it actually works. It's not a scam. Next we have the Clover pot. With this guy equipped, for every 3 Clover tickets that you currently own, at the end of the deadline you will get 1 additional Clover ticket. This guy is just an exponential Clover ticket ramper. There's probably some comparison you could make to this charm to a card in Magic the Gathering, but I don't know the game well enough to know specifically which one. Next we have the Raging Capitalist. Once you equip this charm, he has a 5% chance of giving any symbol the Clover ticket modifier, where when you score a pattern with symbols that have the Clover ticket modifier, you automatically gain that number of Clover tickets equal to the amount of modifiers in that pattern. You increase this percentage of symbols having the modifier by 1% for every lucky charm that you buy, up to 25%, which is where the Fidelity card charm comes in. This charm, when equipped, makes all charms in the store 1 less Clover ticket to buy. You get cheaper charms to ramp this guy up more. Back on the topic of modifiers, this is the Wheelbarrow. It specifically gives only cherries a 20% chance of having the Clover ticket modifier, and it is serving as a placeholder for all the other symbol-specific Clover ticket modifier charms. There is a charm for each symbol that has the Clover ticket modifier, but for sake of space on this tier list, we are only going to be using the Wheelbarrow. And last but not least, we have the Clover Pet and the Lost Wallet. When equipped, the Clover Pet, for every 5 Clover tickets that you own, you get +1 to your symbol's modifier. This is essentially an increase of all symbols by their value multiplied to whatever the symbol multiplier amount is. So say you have 50 Clover tickets you own, you have Clover Pet equipped, that gives you a symbol multiplier of 10, meaning all lemons and cherries, for example, are now no longer 2, but 20. And the Lost Wallet works the same way, except for every 15 Clover tickets you own, you get a patterns multiplier of +1. Now for ranking, we're going to put first our Clover voucher in S tier. I've already given my reasons for it, I don't need to explain myself again, it's just free money. Next in A tier, we're going to put our Clover Pet, our Lost Wallet, and our Raging Capitalist. Now normally, me being the extreme leftist, Marxist, anti-capitalism degenerate that I am, I wouldn't want anything to do with a Raging Capitalist, let alone put it in A tier. But you know, when the money's on your side, what's not to love? Next, we are going to put the Clover Pot and the placeholder Clover Ticket modifier charm in B tier. They're definitely useful. If you don't have the Raging Capitalist, definitely go for whatever symbol-specific Clover Ticket modifier charm you can. You'll pretty much get the same results. And Clover Pot, incredible, excellent, but only useful right at the end of the deadline, so it's a drawer charm. And last, we have our Fidelity card. We are going to be putting that in C tier because it is useful chopping 1 Clover ticket off the price of all your charms, but unless you're going specifically for this Clover ticket ramping build, it's not super helpful. So mid tier. One more thing I forgot to mention about the Lost Wallet. If you zoom in, I don't know if you have a key 9 already spotted it, but you can see there's a funny little condom in there. Always keep protection on you, boys. Never know when you're going to need it. That being said, Lost Wallet, definitely A tier. Alright, next let's talk about a interest build. Starting off, we have the Stonks charm. When it's equipped, you automatically just get an extra 5% to your interest that you earn at the end of every round. Very straightforward, very solid. Next, we have the Grandma's Purse charm. This charm, when equipped, adds a 15% increase to your interest, but decreases by 3% at the end of every round until it discards itself at 0%. Then we have the Naughty Dealer. Similar to the Raging Capitalist, he adds the interest modifier, or token modifier, to any charm. When first equipped, he has a 5% chance of that modifier being attached to any symbol. That percentage raises by 1% for every 7 or more patterns that score during a spin, maxing out at 25% chance of any symbol to have the token modifier. Now these token modifiers, when scored, give you half of your current interest, and just like the Raging Capitalist, they add up according to the amount of modifiers there are on that pattern. Next, we have the Bricks. These are our symbol-specific token modifier charm, another placeholder because there are charms for every symbol, and I don't want to take up space. And last, we have Cat Food. This charm is not necessarily an essential for this interest build, but when equipped, you get an extra 2 spins per round, and it's just kind of nice to have to really max out your interest earning potential. Although this charm could be used in any build you're going for, you just get 2 extra spins, whether you're going for an interest or ticket or repeater build. Overall, solid charm. For our ratings, we are going to start with the Naughty Dealer and the Bricks, and they are both going to go into B tier. While the Naughty Dealer is essentially Raging Capitalist, the method of increasing the percentage of having the modifier on its symbols is much harder to satisfy than it is with the Raging Capitalist. Not to say that it is difficult overall, it just isn't as easy as it is to increase the percentage for the Raging Capitalist. And obviously we're going to put our symbol specific modifier for the token modifier right next to our symbol specific ticket modifier. Next, we are going to put our Stonks charm as well as our cat food in C tier. Both are useful, but a stagnant improvement on your build. They only do one thing, they stay the same the whole time, they never get any better. Definitely mid-range charms. And Grandma's Purse is going to go in D tier, simply for the fact that it degrades and discards itself after a matter of time. Next, we have our golden modifier with another placeholder. This one is specifically for the lemon, but for all the symbols, there is a golden modifier charm where, when equipped, patterns you score with a golden modified symbol or symbols will increase the base value of that symbol based on the amount of golden modifiers within that pattern. Next, we have the Greedy King charm. He's a member of the Capitalist Dealer family, except he starts with a 3% chance of applying the golden modifier to any symbol, and this percentage raises by 2 for every round skipped in a death, maxing out at, again, 25%. And last, we have the Seven Sins Stone. This charm is D1 for a 7s build. All you need is 7 7s anywhere on the screen, not necessarily in a pattern, and this charm will turn all the 7s into golden modified 7s. So if you get a 7s jackpot with this baby, you better believe you're getting straight gold 7s across the board. For this rating, we're going to start with our golden symbol modifier. That's going to go up in B tier along with all of the other symbol specific modifiers. They really all are just equal in their own way. Next, we're going to put our 7/7 stone charm in C tier, and while it is goated for a 7s run, that's only if you're not counting on having any other modifiers on those 7s, because this charm will override those modifiers to make all the 7s golden, which is definitely not a bad thing per se. But if you're really counting on interest or really counting on ticket ramping, you're not going to want to have this charm equipped. And now last and certainly least again, we have the Greedy King going in F tier, because in order to increase his percentage of the modification, you need to skip rounds in your deadline. This can get really nasty really quick. He can really only be safely used in early to mid game, and even then, he still maxes out at just 25% chance. Just really not worth it in my opinion. You'd be much better off going with a specific modifier for a specific symbol for your build. Next, let's talk about a discard build. Now this isn't exactly what it sounds like. You don't ramp or gain multipliers by discarding your charms. Rather, it's based on the discard value charms. Starting off with Sardines. The Sardines charm just makes all the charms that you have at your table have double their discard value. Very straightforward, very nice, even on its own. Next, we have the Dark Lotus. It gives you a symbols multiplier plus X, where X is equal to the discard value of your charms at your table. You're starting to see how this build works. Next, we have the Clover Field, where every lucky charm on your table's discard value increases by 1 at the end of every round. You really should be catching on now. And just to throw it in as the cherry on top, we have the Dung Beetle. When you have the Dung Beetle equipped, whenever you discard a charm, increase all your symbols by their base value. Starting off in A tier, we are going to have our Sardines and our Dark Lotus. These charms on their own are pretty solid. Even if you're not doubling or adding 1 to your discard value of your charms, your Dark Lotus is still going to give you a decent boost, assuming that you have a stacked table. And Sardines, if you're going to throw away your charms, might as well have double the value. Next, we are going to put Dung Beetle in C tier. He could be very useful, but in my experience, I'm not throwing away or discarding more than 9, maybe 10 charms per run. And while that does help, it doesn't help a whole lot. And last, we have Cloverfield going in B tier. Just like the Sardines, if you're gonna throw away your charms, might as well have them for 1 extra Clover ticket value. Next, let's talk about a battery recharge / store restock build. Starting off with the car battery, it doesn't take space, and when you buy it, it automatically recharges all of the battery meters of all your red button triggered charms at your table. Next, we have the super capacitor. When it's equipped, for every spin, it recharges 1 bar of a battery meter of any red button charm you have equipped for every other fully charged red button charm you also have equipped. equipped. Next is the potato battery. When equipped, for every 2 spins with no reward, it automatically charges 1 bar to your battery meter of any red button charm. Then we have the electricity meter, or as I like to call it, the fuse box. When equipped, for every store reroll, it automatically recharges 1 bar of the battery meter of a random red button charm you have equipped. Next we have the dynamo. It has a 40% random chance to trigger. When equipped, at the end of every round, if it triggers, it will restore 1 battery charge to your battery meter of any red button charm. And lastly, we have the lost briefcase. It doesn't take space, and when you buy it, it automatically gives you 30% of whatever the deadline amount you have to reach. I like this charm for this battery build, specifically for the fuse box. Assuming I don't have any free restocks in the store, this lost briefcase will essentially give me a couple free restocks even if I am spending money. First, for the car battery, we are slapping it right up in S tier along with the Clover vouchers and the cigarettes. These 3 are essentials for basically any build you're going for. Next, we have the supercapacitor, and you are going into F tier. My reasoning for this is, in order for this charm to work effectively, you're gonna have a lot of your charm space taken up and cramped by other battery charms that are fully charged, but you're not allowed to use them, because if you do, then the supercapacitor won't work. So you're taking up space with charms you can't use just to recharge 1 charm. The only way I could see this charm being effective is if you also pair it with the potato battery, and even then, you'd need a whole nother charm. Speaking of, we are going to put our potato battery in C tier. While this charm is very useful, especially for early game, you are counting on not getting rewards in order for it to work. That being said, don't get rewards, at least you get a battery charge out of it. That being said, you only get 1 charge to a bar out of the whole meter. Now this could be good if you're using charms like the shiny rock or the ancient coin that only take 1 battery charge to refill, but again, these being relative low early game charms, mainly useful for early game, potato battery is just gonna have to stay as an early game charm. Next we have the fuse box, and I'm putting it in A tier because up until extremely late game, and I mean really late game, I'm talking about past the point when you unlock the key, I'm talking about the plus E deadlines. This charm can basically get you a recharge on all of your battery charms after every round, so you can re-trigger your charms multiple times within 1 deadline. Add on to that any charms that give you free restocks like the crowbar or the shopping cart, you are set for a while. And then we will be putting our dynamo in D tier. It's like the potato battery, but worse because it triggers randomly. You have no control or have any idea when it's going to trigger, and again, it is only 1 battery bar per meter. And last and certainly not least, we have the lost briefcase also going up in S tier. It's literally just free money. What more can you want? Now we're gonna get a little more technical here because we're gonna talk about some build subclass charms. And what that means is these are charms that do work with certain builds that you're going for, but they are not essentials and have their own cons. Starting off with the electrician. When equipped, this charm gives a 5% chance to have the battery modifier on any charm, similar to the AA batteries except not specific to clovers and bells. This charm gives the chance to have that modifier on any symbol, but the downside with him, as well as all of these plushie charms, is it and they decrease that percentage by 1% at the end of every round. Next we have the personal trainer. He has the exact same stats as the electrician, but instead of the battery modifier, he has the repetition modifier, which we've already talked about before. Same as the electrician, starts out with a 5% chance of this modifier applied, but decreases at the end of the round down to 0% when it automatic discards. And last, we have an interesting duo, the Fortune Teller and the Crystal Sphere. Both of these charms apply the chain modifier to your symbols, and what that does is whenever you score a pattern with a symbol that has this chain modifier on it, whatever pattern type it is, that pattern will increase its value by its base value, and it will increase based on the modifiers in that pattern. So let's say you score a pattern of 4 with 1 chain modifier, that pattern is now worth 4x instead of 2x. Now, while the Fortune Teller, like the rest of the plushie charms, only has a 5% chance of this modifier and decreases until 0 where it is discarded, the Crystal Sphere gives a 12% chance of this modifier only to diamonds and treasures, and this charm does not decrease in percentage and does not discard. And for our 4th F tier charm, we are going to have our electrician. If you're counting on having a battery modifier for your run, just try to stick to a Clover or Bell build. That way way, you can use the batteries charm. It's a 6% chance of having the modifier instead of a 5% chance, and it doesn't discard. So electrician, sorry buddy, but you are pretty useless. Next we have our personal trainer, who's going to go E tier. The fact that you can pair him with the clicker or the fruit basket or any other repetition charm saves him from F tier. Otherwise he definitely would be down there, the electrician. But as long as you've got the clicker or the fruit basket and you are going for a fruits build, might as well pick him up. He's not going to hurt you. Next we have the fortune teller, who is going to go in D tier because out of all 3 plushies she actually is the most useful, because even though she does naturally degrade and discards after 5 rounds, any patterns that you scored with that chain modifier will stay at that value that it increased to because of the chain modifier. So while the charm itself isn't permanent, the effects are. And last, we have the crystal sphere, who is going to go in C tier. Like I said, it's essentially the same thing as the fortune teller, but it doesn't degrade or discard after a certain rounds, and it has a slightly higher percentage chance of having that modifier, even though it only goes on diamonds and treasures. Moving on, we are almost through this list. We've only got maybe 20 or so more to get through. If you really are enjoying this video and you stuck around this whole time, if you're even watching this in the first place, I seriously, thank you so much. This has been a real slog to put together. I've enjoyed it, but man, I'm not great at making these videos. So if you're enjoying this, I'm so glad, I'm so happy. Thank you for sticking around. Let's get this thing wrapped up. Up next, we have the playing card fan. We have our Ace of Hearts, Clubs, Diamonds, and Spades. Our Ace of Hearts card, when equipped, triggers whenever 3 or more patterns score during a single spin, and this causes our fruits value to increase by their base value. I don't know if I described that very eloquently. I don't know if I've described any of this very eloquently, but that's the best I got. You score the patterns, you activate the card, you increase the base value of the fruits, yada yada. Our Ace of Clubs charm, when equipped, activates for every 3 Clover tickets you spend in the store, and this increases our Clovers and Bells symbols by their base value. Our Ace of Diamonds, when equipped, is triggered when you score at least 1 pattern with 4 or more symbols, and this increases our diamonds and chests by their base value. And last, we have our Ace of Spades, where when equipped, it raises the base value of the 7 for every 7 lucky charms that also activate or trigger during a round. Now, how do each of you charms score? Starting off, we are going to put our Ace of Clubs up in S tier. This is honestly a very personal decision. While I would normally give this charm just an A, because it's very simple to trigger. You only need to spend 3 Clover tickets in the store for this to activate, and you can keep activating it. That's how it works. And that would on its own make me put it in A tier, but I also just really like the way this charm looks. I'm a big fan of coloring on the card. It's that nice bluish green. I don't know, but that alone makes it S tier worthy. Next, we have our Ace of Hearts that I'm going to be putting up B tier because it's good. Doesn't take a lot for it to trigger, but it only raises fruit values by their base value. It's decent, but on its own, not the greatest thing ever. Next, we have our Ace of Diamonds that I'm going to be putting A tier because it raises the value of diamonds and treasures, which obviously are one of valuable symbols. You want to get those guys beefed up as much as possible, and you only need 1 pattern with 4 or more symbols for it to trigger, which can easily be achieved with things like Record C or the Nose. And honestly, if you have any luck charms equipped, you're pretty set. And lastly, the Ace of Spades. We are going to put it also in B tier, because unless you have a lot of charms equipped that are going to be triggering pretty much every spin, such as the Lucky Cat or the Little Star, things that are going to trigger extremely often, this charm is not going to trigger extremely often. And even though it does raise the value of the 7s, the most valuable symbol, it won't trigger very much unless, like I said before, you have charms that are going to trigger a lot. So we are giving B tier. And one last honorable mention of the playing card family, we have Jimbo. Yes, his name is Jimbo. Jimbo, if you couldn't tell, is a wild card, literally. His effects are always randomly generated, and he always comes with 3 effects. These effects range from plus 3% of seeing a 666, which we'll get into that later, adding chances for certain symbols to manifest, giving you extra turns, taking away turns, symbols multipliers, pattern multipliers, free restocks, you name it. Jimbo can do it all. So with that in mind, we are putting Jimbo in B tier as well. I honestly would put him in C tier, but he's a funny clown. He makes me laugh. His name's Jimbo. Next up, let's talk about the dice family. We have D4, D6, and D20. Shout out to all you D&D fans out there. I love you. Let's play together sometime. So, our D4, when equipped, will randomize all symbols on the screen except for symbols within patterns. This charm is really nice for mid-game and slightly late game, I would say, for when you're all in on a certain symbol, you're at like 70-75% manifestation chance, and you just need that little extra push to get a jackpot like every time. The D4 will come in really handy because chances are if you roll something and you're like 3 symbols away from a jackpot and you're really high up manifestation chance percentage, the D4 will reroll all the symbols that aren't what you want into the symbols that you do want, giving you a jackpot. Next we have the D6. At the end of every round, it just reshuffles what charms are in the store. Pretty straightforward. That's all there is to it. And then our D20, it's basically the same thing as the D6, but instead of reshuffling all the charms in the store, it reshuffles all the charms that you currently have in your drawer. Starting off in our placement, I'm going to keep the D20 right where it already is, in the E tier. I'm sure it's useful, but in my playing of Cloverpit, I have literally never used it once. It's kind of a weird spot for me. I'm sure it's useful, I'm sure it's cool. I've just literally never used it, so I can't really speak on its effectiveness or how badly you really want to use it, so we're just going to keep it in E tier. Next, we are putting our D4 in S tier. Like I said, for those mid to late games, you really just need that extra push to just virtually guarantee a jackpot. Want the D4. And even then, it just reshuffles all the symbols outside of a pattern. It could give you more patterns every time. It could. Though it won't every time, but it could. It's just, it helps. And last, we have our D6. We are going to put you in B tier. Pretty useful. If you get jack shit in the store, you don't want any of it, just slap on your D6, get a free reroll. Now, this reroll does not count for things like the fuse box. It does not count as a manual reroll to give you charges back, but still useful. And now I want to talk about the shitty part of this game.
Evil, the awful, the bitch-made, fuck you Elemis game, the dirty devil and his 666.
The charms you see before you are all dependent in one way or another on the 666 rolls. Starting off at the top of the hierarchy, we have Baphomet. With this charm equipped, and honestly, I don't know why you would have any of these charms equipped. You must be crazy, and I don't like you. Whenever you roll a 666, this charm doubles the value of the above and below pattern. Moving on to our saving grace, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, up in heaven, the good book, the Bible. More specifically, the Holy Bible. Whenever you roll a 666 with this charm equipped, it automatically transforms the 666 into regular symbols and then has a 50% chance of discarding automatically once it is triggered. If you have this charm equipped, I feel the opposite about you as I do about people that have all these other charms equipped. I like you, you're based, you're a Sigma, you're a man of the Lord. I salute you. God bless you. Next, we have this scary, funky, evil-looking book right here, the Necronomicon. When equipped, you have a plus 3% chance of seeing 666 on your rolls. Scary, ew, I don't like it, fuck you. But hey, at least you get a plus 2 patterns multiplier out of it. The Demon's Horn. Whenever you roll a 666, your next spin will have plus 10 luck. Not the worst. At least I'm getting something out of it if I'm rolling a 666. Which I pray I never do. The Crystal Skull. Whenever you roll a 666, triple the value of diamonds, treasures, and sevens until the end of the round. The Evil Deal. Oh, now this guy's a fucking piece of work, I tell you what. At a whopping 50 ticket price to buy it, when equipped, it doubles your symbols multiplier, your pattern multiplier, your interest, and gives you 2 free restocks, but at the price of doubling whatever your percentage already is of seeing a 666. If you have this equipped, I don't know if I should salute you or be scared of you. One way or another, you're a man of the devil. You sold your soul. Next, we have the Chastity Belt. This gives you a patterns multiplier plus 1 for every red phone call that you did not accept. Then we have the Ritual Bell. Whenever you see a 666, it gives you free restocks. Again, if I'm gonna hit that devil number, at least I get some restocks out of it. Maybe I'll get some cigarettes, smoke them things, take the edge off, get some more symbol value. You know how it goes. After that, we have our Magical Tomato. Whenever you spin a 666, all fruit symbol patterns will trigger an additional time. The Possessed Cell Phone. This is a red button triggered charm. Whenever you hit the red button, it guarantees you roll a 666 on your next spin. And that's it. You just hit the button and you call the devil, and he answers, and he comes and takes all your coins and says, fuck you, gambling is a sin. Then we have Satan's little brother, Gabib, this little idiot. Whenever you spin a 666, you get a symbols multiplier +2. Next is our Book of Shadows. It's a 1.5% chance increase of seeing 666. Whenever you roll 666, you then get 3 extra spins. If you continue to roll a 666 within that same round, you will then get 2 extra spins, and then 1 extra spin, and then 0. Next we have our Rosary, a slightly more based version of the Holy Bible, in my opinion. It is a 35% random trigger chance of doing what the Bible does, turning the 666 into regular symbols. If you're more Catholic than you are Christian, this charm's for you. I think the Catholics wear the rosaries, right? And Catholics don't read the Bible. I don't know, man. I don't fucking know about religion. I just know I hate the devil. And last we have our funky little cross. So this guy's a little interesting, honestly. It's a red button triggered charm, and when you press the button, it turns the cross either from right side up to upside down or from upside down to right side up. Whenever it is turned down, you passively generate patterned multiplier +1, but there is a 3% increased chance of seeing 666. Then when you hit the button again to turn it back up, that pattern multiplier increase is actually applied. So you have to turn it upside down, face the devil, gain that pattern increase, and then turn it back up to return to God and get that pattern increase applied. Before I rank these, I'm really tempted to just put all of them besides the Bible and the Rosary in F tier because fuck the devil. But I gotta be fair, I love this game, I love gambling, I'm a bit of a man of the devil myself, I'll admit it, so I gotta be fair. Alrighty, we have all of our charms ready for sorting. Starting off with Baphomet, we are going to, as much as I hate to do it, put you in A tier. Because for ramp builds, if you're going for a 666 build, which I know they're out there, I've seen videos of them, they're really scary, I don't know why to do it. This guy is definitely helpful for those kinds of builds. Next we have the Holy Bible, putting it in A tier right next to Baphomet, kind of even out that energy, make sure he doesn't get too out of hand, jump through my screen, touch him up, you know. But yeah, I mean, gotta have the Bible. Gotta have the Bible. Next, we have the Necronomicon. We are putting in hard F tier. I'm seriously, I don't even know why this charm is in the game. It's so useless. I mean, all of these charms, yeah, you want them for a 666 build, but even then, I mean, if you're not going for a 666 build, it's a 3% increase of seeing 666, and the only reward you get out of it is +2 pattern multiplier? Not even double? Just flat +2. Yeah, fuck you, Necronom. F tier for fuck you. Next, we have the Demon's Horn. We are going to be putting you in B tier, which is getting really filled up. I'll probably have to do some reorganizing before I finish this video. But, you know, honestly, +10 luck for seeing a 666. I think that is pretty well worth it. Crystal Skull, I'll give you to C tier. You're pretty alright, you know. We're putting you in D tier because your effects end at the end of the round. It's not even permanent. Next we have the Evil Deal, and you are going in S tier, my friend. Anybody that's got you equipped, myself included, this charm is the symbol of the absolute maniac. I'm gambling, I'm gonna fight the devil, I'm gonna sign my name in blood. I'm gonna make a deal. Just keep giving me that money, baby. I don't give a shit. Definitely S tier charm. Then we have Chastity Cage. We are going to also put you in D tier. While it is nice to have, especially for a God Call good ending run, it's nice to have, but the most rewards you can get out of it is maybe +3 or +4, maybe +5. Pattern multiplier or symbol multiplier, one of the two. But sure, it's nice, it's useful, it gives you reward for not taking phone calls, but the reward ain't all that great. Ritual Bell is going in C tier, score 666, 3 free restocks, pretty decent. Magic Tomato, you are going in E tier, another charm that's like really questionable why it exists, in my opinion. Not really much to get out of it. The Possessed Cell Phone, we are also putting you in A tier, specifically for the good ending runs. Because for everyone that knows, whenever you roll a 666, once you've gotten the good ending, that 666 will turn into a 999 and do some cool things with your money. I'm not going to spoil it just in case anybody's watching this that hasn't gotten a good ending, but this phone charm is a guaranteed way of getting 999. Khabib, you are also going E tier. You got a stupid name, you look stupid, you look like you scroll TikTok on iPad and pick your boogers all day in hell, and you really only give me a symbol multiplier +2 whenever I score 666. Not at all worth. The only reason you're not an F tier is because your name kind of sounds like Habibi, and shout out my Habibis, free Palestine and all that. Next we have the Rosary. The Rosary will be getting B tier because, like I said earlier, it is a slightly more based, in my opinion, version Bible, and B for based, so you sit comfy there, Rosary. Next we have the Book of Shadows. We are going to put this D tier. Not a huge fan of it. The payoff is pretty nice, but still hate the devil. I hate getting 666's, D tier. And the cross, we are going to put you in C tier because your reward is pretty nice if you can use it in the long run. And because you kind of make me scratch my brain whenever I have to use you. I gotta use my noggin and just sit there and mindlessly gamble. Kind of takes me out of my brain rot gambling state. So good for you. For the last little leg of this video, I'm gonna be throwing in some charms that I didn't really know where else to categorize them, but for right now we have a couple that are not necessarily related to each other, but kind of do the same thing. First off, we have Stain. This charm triggers whenever you score a pattern of 4 or more symbols, and it doubles the value of all your patterns until the round. Then we have the Pentacle. Whenever you score 5 or more patterns in one spin, it increases your symbols multiplier permanently by 1. Just keeps going up for every 5 patterns that you score in a spin. Next we have the Voicemail. This charm adds a symbol multiplier +1 for every reroll you do at the phone. And then the Peridot. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's got a really weird spelling, and it's just a funky little eye charm. This charm triggers whenever you see the eye pattern and no other patterns, and it then doubles the value of the eye pattern. We are going to go ahead and rank our Stain charm at a C. It's pretty good for mid-game, I would say. It can keep triggering throughout round, which is nice, adding, doubling patterns multiplier, but it's not great for early game, and it does reset at the end round. So I would just give it a solid C tier mid-game usefulness charm. Next, we're going to rank our Pinnacle at A tier. Super big fan of it, super useful through mid and late game. You're definitely going to be getting patterns, you're definitely scoring a lot, and you just want to keep that momentum going with the Pinnacle. Get this thing mid to late game, you are golden. Next we have Voicemail. I'm going to be putting you at D tier. I haven't used it very much in playthroughs myself. It's nice, it's got a symbol multiplier +1 for every reroll at the phone. But me personally, I'm really not re-rolling my phone that much. Most of the time, the most I've ever gotten out of it, I think, was a +7 or +8 symbol multiplier, which ain't bad, but like I said, that is best case scenario for me at least. On average, I would maybe get 1 or 2 symbol multiplier additions from it, so D tier. And last we have the funky little eyeball. We are going to put you in, ooh, okay, I haven't done this before, not yet, but we are going to put you in the margin between A and B tier, because in very specific situations, one I will describe later, this charm is absolutely goated, honestly probably worthy of S tier, but without that specific condition, it honestly drops down to around a B tier. I would say B tier because the eye pattern is already valuable, and if you want to just double that, get some doubles on that, you're just gonna keep getting more money. That's always good. So with it only really working to its maximum potential under one very certain condition, I'm just gonna have to throw it right in between A and B tier. Now we're really getting into the charms that I just have left over and really have no connection to each other, like at all, but I need to mention them because I've used them and I need to put them on the tier list, so here we go. First is Jar of Eyes. When you have this charm equipped, whenever you have 3 back-to-back spins where you score either chests, diamonds, or 7s, the next spin will spawn in the eye pattern. Now this charm right here is the one specific condition charm that would put the Pareidolia up to S tier if you have them paired together. Because, probably remember, whenever you score an eye pattern and no other patterns, eye pattern value doubles pareidolia, the jar of eyes makes the eye pattern spawn in. Now, not every time will the jar of eyes charm spawn in an eye pattern, and it will only be the eye pattern. Sometimes it will spawn it in, and you'll have other symbols that connect to it that create other patterns to where the pareidolia won't work. But this charm is like, I would say, a 50%, if not more, increase of getting the pareidolia to trigger and to its max potential. So if you're running pareidolia and you're doing a diamond or treasure or 7 build, you definitely also want to have the jar of eyes. I mean, they're both eye charms, you know, it's kind of assumed that you would want to run them together, right? Next we have Vine's Soup, and that is possessive. It is Vine's Soup. I just learned that. I actually thought the name of it was just Vine Soup. But whoever Vine is, shout out to them, I guess. Their food kind of looks like shit, though. I could have thrown this in with the mushrooms, but I honestly kind of feel like it's its own thing. I mean, it's a bowl with a mushroom in it. At least visually, it looks different, I would say. Anyway, when you have Vine Soup equipped, whenever you roll 5 or more patterns during one spin, it will double the value of all of your current symbols, values, not base value, the current value, until the end of the round. Next, we have Channeler of Fortune, this cool Dreamcatcher looking thing. When equipped, this triggers for every 5 charms that triggers during a round and gives you luck +7. It's essentially a green pepper with extra steps. Next we have
The Collector.
I really fuck with this guy. I fuck with your drip, bro. I fuck with you heavy, bro. Damn, bro. You got that shit on, though, for real, for real. You just got that pedicure, got your shit lined up. Yes, sir. Anyway, this guy, when equipped, gives you pattern multiplier +1 for every charm you have equipped with a special trait. If you don't know what a special trait is or what they are in this game, you're just going to want to look into that yourself. I'm not covering this video. I will be doing on this channel where I specifically use those traits on my charms to try to put together specific builds. But yeah. And lastly, we have the Tarot. Now, I'm just gonna say this right now. I am not a fan of this charm. I rarely touch it. This charm is similar to another charm in here somewhere. I forget which one it was. My brain is not firing all cylinders right now. You can go back in the video and see which one it's similar to based on what it does. So when you have it equipped, for every lucky charm that triggers during a spin, you get a pattern multiplier +1, and it resets at the end of the round. For ranking, we're going to start off with the Eye of Jars, and we are going to put it right up here, right next to the pareidolia, right between that tier line. Both of these together, S tier. Love it. Incredible combination. Separate on their own, both of them are probably B tier or maybe lower, but so it's hard to really put them in a definitive place. Right between that A-B line works best. Vine Soup, we are going to put you in B tier. Very, very useful for mid to late game. Pretty easy to get it to trigger. Only 5 or more patterns need to score, and then it doubles your symbols to the end of the round. Definitely solid. The Collector. I have not actually gotten a chance to use him yet. I'm planning on using very, very much when I do my runs with trait-specific builds, but he looks cool, and I'm sure he will be very useful, so I'm putting him in C tier. The Channeler of Fortune needs charms to trigger. It's only +7 luck. I mean, it's E tier. It's staying right here in E tier. And last and certainly least, we have Tarot Deck. We are putting you in F tier because, well, I mean, did you hear what I said about it? It needs charms to trigger. I think I forgot to mention that if no charms trigger during a spin, it automatically resets. Little bitch can't even wait till the end of the round to reset. It only works if you have things consistently triggering every single spin, and all you get out of it is a +1 pattern multiplier for every charm that activates. You're not going to get a whole lot out of the Tarot Deck. We are down to the last little grouping of charms that I just do not know how to put together with anything else, and we're just going to get through them so we can get on to the last of charms, period. Starting out, we have Varagro, this little diamond guy, and Barathra, this funky Tesseract looking fella. Both of these charms work the same way, as well as the same way as Abyssu. Varago, whenever you have it equipped, any other charm that you buy from the store gets automatically banned, and then once you discard Rago, it will be unbanned and automatically be equipped to your charm table. When you have Barathrum equipped and you pick a phone perk, it will automatically ban it, and then when you discard Barathrum, it will unban that fun ability and trigger it again. Our little Hot Lady Calendar charm here, have it equipped for every round you skip during a deadline. It will increase your symbols multiplier +1. Next we have our Steam and our Diesel locomotives here. The Steam locomotive charm, this black red one specifically. When you have it equipped, if you go 3 spins with no rewards, it will trigger and increase all your symbol values by their base value. And then the steam locomotive charm, whenever you have it equipped, it works the same way except with patterns by their base value. Depression, it's a sad rock. I do not know why the devs invented this and put it in the game. It serves no purpose and does exactly what would assume it does for a charm that's named Depression. When you have this charm equipped, it nukes all the natural luck that you get at the slot machine, so no more patterns, no more jackpots. The only way to combat it, if you were to, for whatever reason, have it equipped, is to have a shit ton of other charms that give you luck, such as the Peppers, or the Sigil, or Channeler of Fortune, or what have you. Next is our Hourglass. He's a cute little charm. I honestly enjoy him. He activates at the end of every deadline for 3 deadlines, and gives you the amount of Clover tickets that it has left on its deadline time. Basically, when you equip it, it starts out with 3 deadlines left. Deadline, you get 3 tickets, then 2, then 1, so on until it discards at 0. And lastly, we have our little music cassette tape. Oh, goddamn. This charm does not take space, and by it, it automatically gives you an extra round of your deadline. Now we get to rank the last charms before the last charm set of the video. Starting off with good old Depression, straight to F tier at the very back, right there. All the way at the back, barely visible. You are literally pointless. I hope you have Depression, because you are useless. Next we have the Train Brothers, Steam, and Diesel. Both of these are going F tier, because you need to go 3 spins with no reward for barely reward in return. I mean, seriously, might as well just equip these 2 trains with the Depression charm if you want to get anything out of them. These trains really just be preying on your downfall. Next we have the music tape. We're going to put that up in S tier as well. Doesn't take space, gives you an extra round of your deadline. What's not to love? Easy S tier. Next we are going to put our Barathrum and Virago in A tier, because Virago can give you an extra charm at your table even if you don't have space. If you use it correctly, you can get to 11 out of 10 charms. Very useful. And Barathrum, you get a additional trigger on your phone perks. We'll put our Hourglass as our final B tier charm. Just scooch it in there just like that. He's all snug in there. He deserves it. He's a cute little guy. I hope he's all cozy. I love that guy. Definitely solid. No real downsides. If you see him, pick him up. You'll enjoy it. And our calendar, we are going to that D tier. I'm not a fan of any charms that require you to skip rounds in your deadline for activate them or perks out of them or whatever, but it has a sexy lady on it. It's worth something. And last, we have the set of charms that I wanted to save to the very end, because is literally a guy who has come to the end of his life. We have the skull and the corpse limbs pieces. First, I'll talk about the limb pieces. These only spawn inside drawers. You'll know they spawn because there's a sound cue of some flies buzzing around, and look at your drawers, it will have some blood come to the top of it. When you equip these limb pieces, they go on your slot machine instead of your charm table, and once you equip them, you cannot unequip them. For each limb piece that you have equipped, there is a 5% addition to your debt that you have to reach at your deadline, and there is a total of 4 corpse limb pieces. I only have 2 up on the tier list because it's 2 arms and 2 legs. You get the idea with just 1 of each. And lastly, this is where it all comes together. Once you have all 4 of the limb charms equipped, you want to look for the skull charm. This charm does spawn in the store, and once you equip it and you have the full 5 limb piece set on your slot machine, the skull will make it so that every free drawer that you have, drawers without charms already in them, at the end of every deadline, you will get a free random charm in all of those drawers. We are putting both of the corpse limb pieces in F tier because on their own, all they do is add to debt amount that you have to reach at the deadline. No bueno, no bueno. And we are putting the skull in A tier, our last A tier charm. You will also need all 5 corpse pieces to unlock the bad ending of the game or good ending game. Either way, once you have unlocked all 4 drawers with the golden key, you will need all the corpse pieces to unlock the skeleton key. And there you have it, my personal Cloverpit charm tier list. I snuck in a couple extra charms at the end here, specifically the 7 modifiers, because it took me a while to unlock them, and now that I have them, I wanted to put each one on the tier list. I'm not going to talk about them. I've already talked about what they do, but if you look closely, you can find them, as well as another charm that I am not going to point out or talk about. If you see it and you know, then good for you.
I'm in the middle of the projects with my gun in my hand. Most don't have a choice, so we choose to take a chance. Gambling, what you gonna do when it's time to feed your family? You gonna go handle it by gambling. We gambling, 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 gambling. Hey, it's hard to focus on your grind, cause you got everything on the line.